101.7. We are live from our studio here at Adesawe in Accra. My name is Martin Aseidu Dartey. Coming up this afternoon, third witness appearing before the bipartisan parliamentary committee probing the leaked tape on alleged plot to oust the IGP, George Ekufu Dampare, has accused the first witness, Bugri Nabu, of fabricating stories against him. We will be live from Parliament, but this is an excerpt of what he's been saying.
President Asari, it seems to me that Chief Bugri Nabu is saying that you introduced Superintendent JB for purposes of going to see the president on the matter. What is your response to that?
Honorable Chair, that's not true. That's not true.
We have details of that for you in a jiffy. Also, the court has set Friday, September 8 to rule on the minority's motion seeking to quash the police injunction on their planned protest dubbed Occupy Bank of Ghana to demand the resignation of the governor of the central bank and his two deputies. My name is Martin Aseidu Dartey. Stay with us. We have details of all these and more in the next few minutes. Let's settle for the details now, and we're beginning from what's been happening in courts. What's been happening in Parliament, where we know that the leaked tape that went viral is the bone of contention, being as the leadership of Parliament has set up a committee to dissect and get to the bottom of it. Superintendent George Asari is one of the senior police officers who's been implicated in the alleged plot to oust the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu Dampare. Now, he has accused the former Northern Regional Chair of the New Patriotic Party, Bugri Nabu, of fabricating stories against him. Appearing before the committee investigating the matter on Monday, August 4, Superintendent Asari said some of the comments attributed to him are the inventions of Bugri Nabu and not directly from him. He claimed he went to Mr. Nabu's office on invitation from the former NPP Northern Regional Chairman after he informed him that the government was scouting for a new IGP and asked him for his recommendations. He said he made 3 recommendations to Mr. Nabu, including COP Alex Mensah and Mami Tiwa Adodankwa. Superintendent Asari is the third witness to appear before the committee after Chairman Bugri Nabu and COP Alex Mensah. Before we hear excerpts of what he's been saying, let's speak to my colleague Duke Mensah Opoku, who is in Parliament monitoring proceedings for us. Duke, good afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, Mark.
So give us a brief idea of what has gone on so far. So he was asked to appear before the committee on Monday after appearing twice last week, but didn't get the chance to share his side of the story. What's he been saying mainly?
Well, first of all, he has said that part of the audio tape in question, he can confirm as his voice, but there are other parts which he says, or he has labeled as cut and paste. These are portions which he says are cut and paste. He also says that there is a fuller version of the audio tape that where all sorts of comments were made, including his view on the leadership style of the current IGP. He says he wouldn't make his views on known the current leadership style of the IGP because he sees the IGP as the boss, as the overall head, and wouldn't be seen making comments in public about how his leader is managing the affairs of the police institution. He has also said that he got to know Chairman Bugri Nabu through his son, through Chairman Bugri Nabu's son, who is his prophet, who has been praying for him, Prophet Emmanuel Bugri Nabu. He has met Bugri Nabu on 4 occasions, and on one occasion is when the conversation in question came up. He says that he has recommended, when he heard that Bugri Nabu was, for want of a better word, shopping for a new IGP, he made his recommendations to him. He recommended one COP Myanmar. He also recommended COP
Alex Mensah and Mami Tiwa
Adodankwa. And then he also Christian Tito Yowono. COP, as well as the man in question, COP George Alexander Mensah. So he gave four recommendations. It was not as if the conversation was narrowed only upon COP George Alexander Mensah. He also did indicate that a lot of the things that Bugri Nabu came to say before the committee are not true and they are inventions. Casting aspersions to the fact that he thought that Bugri Nabu was a respected person, but I mean, his insinuations, he doesn't think he's a respected person anymore because he brought out matters that they discussed in confidence into the public domain. So as we speak, he's still being questioned. And yes, he has also said that there are some things that he will feel comfortable talking about in camera, which he will not feel comfortable speaking about in public because he's still in uniform, he's still in the service, and wouldn't want to watch the declaration of the institution in public. Martin.
All right, thank you very much, Duke Mensah Poku, for that update from Parliament. Certainly, in subsequent bulletins, he will be bringing us further details of what has gone on. But if right after the news you don't have much engaging you might want to tune into TV3. We are bringing you live proceedings from that hearing, which is ongoing in Parliament. Meanwhile, let's go and listen to some of the interactions between the COP, who is, the Superintendent, George Asari, and the committee probing that leaked tape that has gone viral about a plot to oust Dr. George Akuffo Dampare, the current IGP.
2 persons. 1, Chief Bugri Nabu. 2, my boss, COP Mr. George Alex Mensah.
And what was the subject matter for that meeting?
Honorable Chair, when I got there, the meeting had almost ended. If you... okay. When I got there, the meeting had already ended. And from my deductions, I saw that Chief Bugri Nabu wanted to tell us that there's going to be a possible changes in the top hierarchy of our work, and that it could be possible Commissioner will get a nod.
So
as to whether or not he was lying, I cannot tell.
So the discussions were on who becomes the next IGP.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
You had arranged for Commissioner Mensah to see Chief Nabu.
Honorable Chair, that is not it. As I did indicate, our visitation to his office was at the instance of Chief Bugri Nabu. I didn't arrange whatsoever for any meeting.
So the entire police service, Commissioner Mensah meeting Chief Nabu, there couldn't have been any other officer who have joined that meeting than Superintendent Mensah. Sorry.
Honorable Chair, it was because I introduced or recommended him to Chief Bugri Nabu.
So you were the fixer.
Honorable Chair, fixer as in what?
The go-between Commissioner Mensah and Chief Nabu.
Honorable Chair, I will dispute this. That's not true. That can't be correct.
But you are the same person who mentioned the names of Commissioner Tiwa, Ernest Ousu, and Yohono to Chief Nabo.
That is correct, Honorable Chair.
So you were in the process of influencing appointing authority through Chief Nabo for any of these 4 people to be the next IGP.
Honorable Chair, I was just expressing my opinion. Just an expression of opinion. Because I do not have the capacity to appoint an Inspector General of Police. I'm too small.
After that meeting in Osu, you met with COP Mensah.
No, Mr. Chair.
You didn't call him?
I cannot recall, but he is the type, Mr. George Alex Mensah is the quiet type. Very quiet, he doesn't talk. My honorable brother, Honorable Peter Tobu, can attest to this fact. That is the quiet type. He doesn't talk at all. Had it not been that day when he was seated by my at the right-hand side, I never knew he could talk like that. Even though he taught me at the police college. Yes. That is all that I know. He doesn't talk. So for me to be calling him, no, unless he calls me.
You have a lot of respect for him.
That is correct, Honorable Chair.
And he appeared here and said that the police administration is not being managed properly by the current IGP.
Superintendent Asare, do you know the role of the police council vis-a-vis appointment of inspectors general of police?
Mr. Chair, I have never had the opportunity to work with the police council, but with the appointment of the Inspector General of Police, I have made it clear to the committee.
If I can recall what you said, it is the prerogative of His Excellency the President to appoint in consultation with the Council of State. And you and I know that the Police Council provides strategic and policy advice on matters of the police, the President. The question I want to ask, which role do you think Chief Bukrunabo will be playing to facilitate the appointment of an IGP?
So those are excerpts of today's hearing, which is still ongoing. So you get details of it and extracts of that conversation on our website, 3news.com. You're still listening to 3FM 92.7. This is the Midday News live from our studio here at Adisawe in Accra. Let's go on to some other stories for you this afternoon. And Accra High Court has set Friday, the 8th of September, to rule on the minority's motion objecting the police injunction against their planned protest. The police had filed an interlocutory injunction seeking to halt the minority's protest on September 5 to demand the resignation of the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, and his 2 deputies. As very soon we'll be speaking to our court correspondent, Lord Eduasare, who has been following this particular story for us keenly in court. We also heard from some of the key leaders of the minority who are seeking to undertake this protest against the governor of the Bank of Ghana. And they are simply saying that in as much as the courts has decided to rule on their petition on the 8th of September, which is a Friday, that means that the original date, which is the 5th of September, will not be the date for the protest. So it looks as though what we are picking from the camp of the minority is that after the ruling on the 8th of September, a new date will be made public. However, the route that they intend to take still remains the same. When we do get that connection to our correspondent in court, Lord Eduasari, we'll get him to update us on what else has happened in court. Away from that, there are plans to include cybersecurity programs in the senior high school curriculum in a bid to reduce the incidences of cybercrime targeted at children. The Director General of the Cybersecurity Authority, Dr. Albert Ntwiboisiako, made the announcement at the launch of the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month in Accra. According to the Cybersecurity Authority, the top 5 reported cyber-related incidents from 2019 to 2022 include romance scam, online blackmail, unauthorized access, cyberbullying, and online impersonation. The Cybersecurity Awareness Month is to raise awareness about the threats posed by cyber fraud and the inherent risks associated with it. Let's hear some excerpts from that program.
The government has envisaged this process. That has been incorporated into our national cybersecurity policy and strategy. The board of the authority has given approval to that. Currently, it is before cabinet for consideration and adoption. It is important that we give serious attention in that area.
And the Deputy Minister for Communication and Digitalization, Ama Poma Boateng, is optimistic government can reduce the threat posed by cyber security.
There is significant data that signals the fact that cybersecurity-related issues demand public attention within the media space. I further expect the launch to encourage cross-sector collaboration to maximize the impact of digital safety ahead of NACSAM 2023.
Away from that story now, the National Identification Authority, NIA, has commenced the second phase of the Ghana card registration nationwide for first-time applicants aged 15 years and above, that is 15 and above. The exercise, which is taking place across the 276 NIA district offices across the country, will be free of charge. It comes at a time the Electoral Commission has insisted on the use of only the Ghana card for the upcoming limited voter registration. And my colleague Christian Yali is at the NIA head office and has joined me for some updates on what exactly has been happening. We know that, Christian, you gave us earlier indications that it is being undertaken in all 276 NIA district offices. Here at the headquarters, what exactly is happening?
All right, so Martin, at the NIA head office, a number of people have turned up today to partake in the second phase of the exercise, which is exclusively for first-time applicants. And so when you come here, there are a number of centers that have been set up here with different officials who are attending to these applicants. When you enter the building itself, there are centers there and people are attending to the applicants who have turned up. I have been trying to engage the chief executive, Dr. Kenatifa, who tells me that they have not really pegged a number for this second phase of the exercise due to what happened in the first phase. You know, the first phase, they had wanted to get about 250,000 public sector workers who are on government payroll to partake in the exercise, but it turned out that only 87 public sector workers turned out for the program or for the exercise, which prompted the commencement for this one. So as we speak, the first phase has been truncated with the commencement of the second phase, which has started today.
Right. And Christian, for those who may not know what exactly is happening, can you give us a reason why the NIA is commencing this kind of exercise?
All right. So, Martin, we know that in recent times, there have been reports of shortage of the materials that the NIA uses to referring to the Ghana card. So in my engagement with the Chief Executive, Dr. Kenneth Fahy, made me understand that for the 276 district officers that are undertaking this free exercise, they have now been able to get all the materials and the equipment that are needed to get the Ghana card printed for these people, especially the first-time applicants. The other thing is that for those who want to even replace or update their Ghana card, they have to go to any of the non-premium centers of the or offices of the Ghana card to make a payment of 34 cedis 50 pesos to get their replacement or the update of their Ghana card done for them. But as it stands, it means that even the second phase, it wouldn't be taking place at the premium offices in Ho, Takoradi, Techiman, Sunyane, Seshiri and Tamale, for instance, and even Kumasi. The premium offices there are not undertaking this free registration exercise.
Right. So my understanding is that although there will be some payment, it will be for only those who are coming to renew or claim new ones for lost cards.
Exactly.
All right, Christian, thank you so much for that update from the Accra head office here of the National Identification Authority. And like we indicated, the NIA has commenced a nationwide exercise, which is the second phase of the Ghana card registration for first-time applicants aged 15 years and above. So in case you are yet to get your Ghana card, this is the best opportunity to get that. This actually comes on the back of the fact that the Electoral Commission is insisting that it is only the Ghana card that will be used for the limited voter registration exercise, which is currently ongoing across the country. So that's what's happening in the Greater Accra region. Let's find out what's happening in the second largest capital in Ghana, which is the Ashanti Regional Capital of Kumasi. Ibrahim Abubakar is our man on the beat. Ibrahim, good afternoon. Thank you for your time. What can you report? Is the exercise underway?
Well, Martin, yes, the exercise is underway in some of the districts. In fact, for Asqua, I went there in the morning and I was told that they have some challenge. So for that matter, they cannot go ahead with the exercise today, probably tomorrow. Initially, most of the applicants went to the regional head office in Kumasi, where they were told that this is not where the country of the exercise is going on, and for that matter, they have to go back to their various districts. And most of these applicants, you realize that they are in for the card because they want to also register for the Ghana card, since it is a requirement for the registration. I asked even a couple of them why they had to wait for such a long time, and they said they didn't have the time, and anytime they go to the office and they see the long queues and they get discouraged and also go home. So now that this exercise has begun, they will make sure that they register and get their card before they go ahead and get that of the voter ID card. So today people are coming, but not as many as we've seen when the registration started maybe at the regional offices. Currently, if you go to the regional office, the numbers there are huge. Honestly, I don't even know why people are there that many. But the district officers have begun with the registration. They are hoping that everything will end very smoothly.
All right. Thank you very much for that update as well. Ibrahim Abubakar, a reporter from the Ashanti region, about the NIA's registration exercise for the Ghana card. That's the phase 2 of the exercise for first-timers. And also, as we heard earlier, for those who are looking to renew or get new cards, you would have to make some payment. But those who are now getting their Ghana cards for the first time, 15 years and above, it is absolutely free. Let's take a step back to our earlier story having to do with the High Court's ruling, which is set for Friday, the 8th of September, for the minority's motion objecting the police's injunction on their planned protest against the Bank of Ghana governor. We know that the minority in parliament is asking for this particular move. However, they've hit a snag following the police's decision to seek an injunction against that. Let's listen to Mahama Ayariga, one of the leaders of the minority who were in court earlier today, where we were told that the ruling would be made on the 8th of September, and what their immediate thoughts are on the court's decision.
Have not stopped us from demonstrating. Yes. And the courts have not changed the route of the demonstration. Okay. And we have no intention to change the route of the demonstration. Indeed, the arguments on the route hasn't even happened yet in court. It is just our pointing out that the police is incompetent in the way that they have come to court. So we are pleading with our supporters and those who have prepared themselves for this match to remain prepared, because this match will happen. It will happen on the same route. It is only the date that will change after the court has given a ruling. So on Friday, we will be back here in court. We will listen to the ruling of the court on the preliminary matter. We will go into the substantive matter of whether or not the Bank of Ghana premise is a security zone, whether or not, the routes that we have chosen cannot be used by us, and then whether or not we are the ones causing the coup in this country. All those arguments will be heard on Friday after the ruling on the preliminary matters and a decision taken by the court, and then we will announce the specific date of the demonstration. What they have done is just to postpone their problems. They have just postponed their problems. As for the problem of we demonstrating their inefficiency, incapacity, how they have destroyed the Central Bank of Ghana and the financial system of the country, we will demonstrate, and we will demonstrate on that route that we have announced to the public.
Mahama Ayariga is MP for Boko Central and is one of the minority leaders in court today. So before we wrap up, let's take a quick trip to Kenya, where Ghana has thrown its weight behind the African Union's charge to have international capital markets to recognize African resources for global finance. The push comes as many countries, including Ghana, face daunting economic crises and rising debt. The Minister of State in charge of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, speaking to 3FM, called for a change to allow countries exchange their growing debt with natural resources.
There is no free lunch, okay? And so no developed country is going to give you grants without conditions. Certainly will be conditions. And I can tell you, some of these conditions do not provide the environment for us to build our capacity. If China is giving you a grant to do a road infrastructure, for example, and they say that you have to use a Chinese company to do that, that's the condition. That is coming with the grant. There's no free lunch. You have to account to their people, to their taxpayers, okay? And so we need to be able to go to the market.
And that's Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, who is the Minister of State in charge of Finance. My colleague Eric Maonagbeta is currently in Nairobi, Kenya, and reports that more on what the minister has been saying and other expected speakers who will be at that event.
And so, by and large, it's been a lot of talk about finances and how Africa as a whole can be able to get or lay hands to a lot more money towards dealing with the effects of climate change, which have been structured really into adaptation and other matters. And so there was a question which was posed. I asked a question about the argument that has been back and forth as to why it is that when we contribute very little and the global north is supposed to be providing some of these supports, they come in the forms of loans. Why aren't the leaders pushing for grants? And the minister says that grants come with additional requests or additional ties to their hands, which makes it difficult to be able to enhance or develop their capacity as a nation. And so
Eric Managbeta is my colleague who is in Nairobi, Kenya for the first or maiden edition of the Africa Climate Change Summit. Details of that, our website is your go-to source. My name is Martin Aseidu Dartey. That's it for the bulletin. If you visit our website, 3news.com, you find details of all the stories we brought to you. Have a good afternoon, and as always, stay positive. Business is up next with Bismarck.
It's time now for Business Daily with me, Bismarck Ausa. Coming up this afternoon, interest rates hit 31.65% as government achieves 15% oversubscription in Treasury bills auction. And commercializing thermal oil refineries' idle storage tanks could fetch the company some $2 million a month. That's according to an energy strategist. These and many other stories coming shortly. Thanks for your company. Now to our very first story. Subscriptions for government's treasury bills exceeded its target of $74 billion. The market witnessed an oversubscription to raise 3.53 billion cedis as interest rates continue to surge. For the past 2 weeks, the government has managed to exceed its treasury bill targets, even though they were ambitiously oversubscribed.
All bids tendered in this week's auction were accepted. According to the latest results by the Bank of Ghana, interest rates went up across the yield curve. This comes after the government forced rates down in March 2023 following the completion of the first phase of the domestic debt exchange program. Interest rates are currently hovering between 27.36 to 31.65%. According to the results, the target was oversubscribed by almost 463 million cedis. However, the continuous increase in the interest rate will make maturities expensive for the government to fulfill. Interest rates for the 91-day and 182-day bills have increased to about 27% and 28.6% respectively. For the 364-day bills, interest rates have increased to 31.65%. Government has planned to raise about 2.6 billion cedis in the next auction, a target that may seem unambitious, but market watchers predict government may exceed that target by the end of the auction.
That was a Business Desk report. Now, government has directed Ghana Cocoa Board to bring the opening of the upcoming season 2023-2024 forward, effective Friday, September 8th. The Chief Executive of Cocoa Board, Joseph Boahin Edu, in a statement issued, said the decision was due to recent disruptions in the internal marketing of cocoa and to safeguard the interest of the cocoa farmers. It said the opening event will be on Saturday, September 9, and accordingly, the 2023 light crop season ceased at close of business on Thursday, August 1, 2023. It said all were to take note and be guided accordingly to the arrangements and strictly comply. To some other story, the Ghana Agricultural Workers Union, GAU, has alerted implementers of the Planting for Food and Jobs program to address smuggling of inputs meant for the program. General Secretary of GAU, Edward Kariwe, has observed that curbing smuggling of the inputs is key in the success of the Phase 2 of the Planting for Food and Jobs program.
If we have a situation where within the period of the implementation of the Planting for Food and Jobs program, fertilizer became very, very scarce, the prices escalated beyond the reach of farmers, smuggling was so high to the extent that even animals were encouraged to participate in the smuggling. And the example was given by them that donkeys were carrying the fertilizer across the border unaided by human beings. That cannot be a good story for the Planting for Food and Jobs.
And that was General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, GAU, Edward Kariwe. An energy strategist and Chief Executive Officer of Eureka Energy Solutions, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, is urging management of Tema Oil Refinery to commercialize the company's storage capacity. He noted that the money from such activity could be plowed back into the refinery for its core mandate of refining crude oil for the domestic market. According to the Eureka Energy Solutions boss, commercializing TOR's storage tanks will rake in some $2 million a month.
Data available to Eureka proves that with a little investment, about $3 million USD, they can commercialize, they can bring back these idle tanks into operational mode, and that could fetch the refinery closer to $2 million US on a monthly basis. Any commercial partner who can partner with TOR to get these tanks to operational mode, it's going to be a huge win-win situation, especially for the refinery. So now that the core business is still in inertia, awaiting to have a concrete deal sealed to get the refinery back to business. We have a huge pool of importers within the space, and I think storage is one of the bottlenecks for these importers. I urge TOR to open up, to get strategic partners who can invest into these tanks that are idle, to bring them back to operational mode. And I think it's going to be a huge win-win situation for the two partners, especially for TOR, that is struggling to meet some basic requirement in terms of utility bills, some statutory payments to staff.
Energy strategist and Chief Executive of Eureka Energy Solutions, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana there, ending Business Daily with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please log on to 3news.com. Thanks for your company.